Hi. I recently completed leading a weight loss challenge for over 300 women for 30 days. And one of the concepts that I taught there that the women said was most helpful for them is something that I call ugly tracking. Ugly tracking can be an absolute game changer for your weight loss, and in this video, you're going to learn why. If you keep a food log, I'm curious, what are the times that you don't track? So whether you're counting points with Weight Watchers and using the app, or counting calories with an app like MyFitnessPal, or even keeping a paper and pencil journal, what are the times that you start tracking and then you don't track anymore? Share about it in the comments because I want to hear about it. Times that women talk about the most are when they aren't sure what the calories are, like at a restaurant or at a party, maybe at night, maybe on the weekends, maybe on vacation, maybe when they get really stressed or tired or overwhelmed. Maybe it's just those little things that seem like they don't really matter that much, like the little BLTs, the bites, licks, and tastes while you're cooking, the few French fries off your kid's plate. But more often, it's those times that we really go off track. We graze on something throughout the day and all of a sudden we realize that we ate the entire bag. We really get into the pantry at night and all of a sudden we're eating all the things, or binging or overeating, and we think, well, I'm not gonna write all that down. I'll just get back on track tomorrow, or I'll just get back on track on Monday. Or maybe after a weigh-in when you have like a celebration meal or a cheat meal, or you think, oh, I've got the whole week to make up for it. It doesn't really matter that much. What if you tracked that? Those are the times that I call ugly tracking, because we want our trackers to be pretty, right? I totally get that. You know, I'm a type A personality. I want everything to look like the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. I want to be a good girl. I want to follow the rules. Doesn't feel very good when your tracker's ugly. What about when your numbers go over the calories you're supposed to eat for the day on MyFitnessPal? Do you go back in and fudge and rearrange and say, oh, wait a minute, maybe I didn't really have a cup and a half. Maybe it was only a cup, because I want everything to line up and look good. What if you left it the way that it is and did ugly tracking? Here's the thing, friends. I did this kind of stuff for years. So if you're recognizing yourself in what I'm sharing right now, first of all, share in the comments because it helps to know that we aren't alone. But second of all, I did it too, and I still wrestle with wanting to do it. So when I was losing 100 pounds, after I started therapy and I went back to Weight Watchers, I would track really, really well during the day, but then I didn't track so much at night because I was binging and overeating and having tons of snacks. Or I would track really well during the week and everything looked really pretty, but then I didn't track on the weekends. And I thought, well, I've got these extra weekly points to cover it. It'll be fine. I'll just get back on track on Monday. And to a certain extent, I still had success. I lost some weight, but then my weight would stall out, it would plateau, and I couldn't figure out why. And I had a tendency to blame other things. So it's my metabolism. You know, these days it's because I went through menopause, or there must be something wrong with my body. It needs fewer calories than everybody else. When the reality was, there's nothing wrong with my body. It was my habits. I wasn't being totally honest. I was somewhat in denial. And it's okay if you're going through this. We all want things to look pretty. We want the pretty tracker. If you're a Weight Watchers member, you want the blue dots. You want MyFitnessPal to throw the confetti for you and tell you that you're doing all the right things. The challenge is, if that's not actually how you're eating, you're really not doing yourself any favors. So I want to challenge you and encourage you to do some ugly tracking. I want you to say it in the comments. I commit to ugly tracking. This is what we did during the fall challenge. I encouraged the members to say, I commit to ugly tracking. And in that challenge, we actually posted our food logs every day for 30 days for the whole group to see, which takes a lot of courage, right? And I encouraged them to post, even if it was ugly tracking, even if you went over your calories, even if you went over your points, actually write down what you really ate. And sometimes people in that group would post and say well, I got off track, but I'll just get back on track tomorrow. And I would go in and lovingly give them that accountability and say, okay, it's great that you're gonna get back on track, but before you do that, I want you to go back and track what you actually ate. And that is challenging. That can be really hard for someone who is a binge eater to track what I actually binged was really hard and scary. So if you're feeling like this is making you feel a little bit nervous and uncomfortable, you're not the only one. But here's what I want to tell you. What do you think's gonna happen if you track ugly? What happens if you go over your points or your calories? Guess what? Nothing bad is going to happen. I promise. Your phone is not going to blow up. No one's gonna come and yell at you because, at least for most of us, most of the time, nobody sees your food log anyway. You're the only one who sees it, so what are you afraid of? You're the only one who's eating it. You're really kind of probably the only one who mostly cares. So the only person that you're hurting with your denial is yourself. And the more that you can start to get honest, really when I say ugly tracking, I just mean honest tracking, then you can use that tool to your full advantage because you can get a real picture of what you're actually eating. So tell me in the comments, I commit to ugly tracking. I want you to commit to try this, to really track what you actually eat. Not what you want to eat, not what you think you should eat, but what you actually eat. And if you don't know exactly, just guess. It's fine. You can estimate. I estimate my food log all the time. With tracking, consistency matters more than accuracy. You can type that in the comments too. Consistency matters more than accuracy. I would so much rather see you track every single day and just estimate than quit tracking half the time. So here's the other thing with ugly tracking that is super important to this whole process, and that is compassion. I want you to type in the comments, I am compassionate. I am compassionate. A lot of us can be compassionate to other people, but we're so hard on ourselves. It's really tough to be compassionate to yourself. But I want to challenge you to do it. I am compassionate. I want you to be just as compassionate to yourself as you would be to someone else. And here's why. If you track honestly, if you ugly track what you actually eat, and then you beat yourself up about it, you're not gonna wanna do it anymore. You'll be like, shoot, no, I don't wanna do that. That was painful. Who wants to do things that are painful? I don't wanna do anything that's painful. So it's really important to be compassionate with yourself. And here's the thing, you're doing it anyway. You're eating the food anyway. We're not tracking anything that you're not already doing. We're just being honest about it. When you can be honest about it and look at it as a real truth, yet with compassion, that's where the game changing comes in, because then you don't have to be in denial. You don't have to run away from it. You don't have to hide it. You can treat yourself with the grace and compassion that God gives you, and the grace and compassion that a friend would give you. Why not give yourself the same grace and compassion that you would give to someone else? Because that's when you can really change. So with the weight loss challenge, when people would post their tracker, and obviously they'd gone way over their calories or points, and I would do it too, and I would track when I went over my points, and I would share it with the group, or calories. I want you to look at that, and first of all, what I would tell people is thank you for your honesty. Thank you, because I know that it takes a lot of courage to be honest. So that's the first thing you can tell yourself. Good job, me. Thank you, Sarah, for being honest. And then ask yourself, what did I learn? What did I learn from this? Is there something that I want to do differently next time? Because that's how the growth happens. That's how we can make improvements. When we get honest with it, we treat ourselves with compassion, and then we can look at it and say, okay, that didn't work so well. That didn't feel so good. I don't like that I went 30 points over my points for the day, or I don't really feel great that my calories were 2,800 calories for the day when, my goal was 1,800. That doesn't feel so good. Or what about other things, like I had heartburn half the night, that wasn't great. Or, here I went on vacation to have fun and relax, but I ended up in my room, like miserable with a stomach ache, chomping on Tums. Like, that's not a vacation. That's not really very fun. Or, my weight loss is plateaued. That's not really getting me to my goals. Maybe this overeating thing isn't so great. Maybe I need to rein it in a little bit on the weekends. Those are all things that you can learn when you use this process. So I have a challenge for you. Will you commit to ugly tracking, honest tracking for the next 24 hours? Just 24 hours, just one day. Will you commit to that? Tell me in the comments. Say, I commit to 24 hours. 24 hours of ugly tracking, and then send me an email and let me know how it goes, or come back to this video and share in the comments But I want to hear from you how much difference it makes when you really honestly track. If you can commit to longer, give me a whole week, a whole 7 days of honestly tracking, you will be amazed at the progress you see. And remember, it's ugly tracking, compassion, and what did you learn? You can do this. I'm Sarah with The Holy Mess, and I'm here to support you every step of the way. Love you guys.